Well, hello everybody, and happy Saturday. I almost said Thursday. I don't know why I said Thursday. It's definitely a Saturday morning. So hope everyone's having a fantastic start to their day. I know we're going a little early today in what time we're starting. We might have to do a little bit of troubleshooting along the way. I realized I got everything going and I didn't turn on my camera yet. So I wanted to make sure we'll figure out the overhead, but if not, we'll figure it out along the way. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. I have had quite the week. I've had 2 live streams already this week. This is number 3. And yesterday was SBC Fest. So it has been chock full of so much fun stuff. But we have this fantastic brand new Catherine Pooler release that just got dropped on Wednesday. And I definitely wanted to make sure to stop by and do a little bit of card inspiration with you all about it. So we're going to tune in a little bit with that. I'm going to craft with some florals, which is something I've leaned into more over the years. Haven't done it too much, but hey, that's okay. So let me check real quick. I want to check my overhead camera for a second. All right, we are good to go with that. Go back to my face, and let me also get my Stream Deck open so that I can use that too. So that way I can push fancy buttons whenever I need to get anything ready. So that'll be good to go. So if you guys are up to something fun today, maybe you've got a crafty commitment or a family commitment, go ahead and drop it off in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have going on. I have a lot of crafty commitments this weekend to work on, but that's okay. That's kind of what the weekends are for me. Usually my Saturdays are dedicated to a lot of crafty stuff, and then on Sundays is me trying to tie up any loose ends and then spend some time with me and my husband and my dog. So that's usually what we're up to. Just trying to make sure everything is switched over appropriately. All right. Good morning. Oh, I'm seeing some people come in. Hello, Robin or Rob N. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. And we've got Kristen. Good morning to you. And hello, Jamie. Making cards all weekend. I hear ya. I was making some cards last night. So I was excited to get some of those taken care of. a fun new release heading with one of the companies I work with is, I believe, scheduled for later this month. I unfortunately can't divulge too much more information than that, which means something fun is on the way, right? So I've been working on some stuff. I got to mail off some samples. I'm really excited with what I came up with. So yay, yay, yay. Jamie's got to take her dog to the groomer, but then doing SBC Fest. Yes. It was so much fun yesterday. I had so much fun watching everybody's instructions. I mean, you can't go wrong when you've got Vicky and you've got Gina doing a class, and of course you've got Megan. We had Marie Nicole, Leah Lawson, and of course Laura. So everyone did such a fantastic job. There was so much fun inspiration. I was chatting with Megan. If you guys haven't heard before, me and Megan are lucky enough that we live about 30-40 minutes down the road from each other. And so we chat once in a while, and we were talking about how there's my laundry machine. We were talking about how maybe my next live, which I think I'm going to do next week on Saturday, I'm going to play and make a new card with my SBC Fest kit. So I think that's going to be really fun for those of you who maybe got this kit later on, maybe didn't have a chance to fully create with it. So I think that would be a fantastic live. So stay tuned. We'll of course have more details coming your way with that. But let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk Catherine Pooler. So I'm going to go ahead and let's switch this over. Perfect. Just kind of move this a little bit. All right. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. And be sure, if you haven't already, I'd love your support. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't, or at least like this video. That always helps with all the algorithm fun out there. But I want to talk for a second. Let's go and talk about the new goodies that have come out from Catherine Pooler. So I am going to be playing around today with the Wildflower stamp set. Let's zoom out just a little bit so you guys can see a little bit more. So we're going to be playing with this today, and I'm going to talk to you guys about just kind of how I like to use my Catherine Pooler stamps. I feel like in today's world, a lot of us are doing stamps that aren't silhouette stamps that are more like outlines, and that you can color or watercolor in with whatever you're choosing maybe. So we are going to go in, we're going to use this, the Wildflower stamp. I've got the coordinating dies. I do also have all of the products I'll be using today listed in the description below. Be sure to take a moment to check it out, just because there are a couple options in there where you can snag these products at a discounted bundle deal. Like the Wildflower stamp set, there's a bundle with the coordinating dies. Then there's also a bundle where you can get the stamp set, the coordinating dies, and 2 other products we're using today. So we're going to use these 2. No, I do have to refresh myself on the name. We've got the channel stitch cover plate, which this is a really fun way to add texture to your card. And then this one is the knots and crosses nested die set. And it comes up with these really fun nested squares that have rounded edges. And I'm assuming the knots are the circles, and of course the crosses are like these little X's. And this is a really fun layering stamp set to use. So I really like how all of these work together. Catherine Pooler put out a fantastic release. If you guys haven't heard, this year their big sort of campaign is it's their year of color. So they're coming out with a lot of products that coordinate with the already fantastic Catherine Pooler color line. And that includes coming out with things like enamel dots. So we're going to be playing around with the Party Violets today. This is one of the new enamel dot collections. And along with the Year of Color push, we do have the Pixie Dust Shimmer. I will talk about the shimmer a little bit later, but prefacing with, this is my type of excitement when it comes to new release products. I love splatters. You guys know I grab acrylic paints and inks and all the time, so anything to splatter on my projects I love, and this is definitely no exception. So let's put away a couple things right now, and let's just talk about stamping. And I'm looking right now and I'm thinking, I didn't grab a piece of my Catherine Pooler cardstock that I thought I did. Okay, we're just going to have to cut something, no big deal. So I'm going to pull out my Catherine Pooler Premium White cardstock, and oh, there it is. That's what I have. But I want to talk to you guys for a second, just kind of about special cardstocks. And you guys might have a favorite cardstock that you like to use for your solid image stamping. That is great. I am not someone who does a lot of it, but I love it when it comes to my Catherine Pooler projects. And because Catherine Pooler makes a lot of silhouette stamps, they also have a cardstock that works super well with it. And that's their favorite cardstock. This is in white. It's their 8.5 by 11. I know you can't see the whole packaging, but you really just need to see the label. It also comes in a couple different sizes. sizes as well. If you're someone who likes to work more with like an A2 size of panels, whatever works. I always just default to the regular 8.5 by 11. I don't mind trimming it down. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to get promotional packages that have the smaller sizes. They're definitely more convenient, but I don't mind cutting things down. And it also helps too if you're working with like different sizes. Maybe you're not making an A2 size card. Maybe it's a square card. I just like to have the bigger sheets, but you do you, whatever works. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with some stamping. And I have, this is half a sheet, and it's like I didn't do a great cut job, but that's okay because I don't need that. And we're going to put it inside of our Misty. And this might be the one product I forgot to link below, but I feel like your Misty is something that most people have anyways, unless you're brand new to stamping, or you have something else that you like instead, because I know people have talked about other stamping tools that they feel do just as well. What we're going to do with this is we're actually, now that I'm talking too much and not thinking fast enough, we are going to trim this down, and we're going to trim this down to A2 size, and this is going to make it really easy to use in my Misty. And what we're going to do with this, y'all, I just got like a notification on my phone, and I have been getting like the weirdest spam emails lately, and I just got one about like a scenic view of your neighborhood, and it's like what homes have sold recently, and I'm like, who got my email address? It's always something. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna stamp out the 2 flower tops. I did prepare the stems in advance just because I didn't want to make you guys watch me stamp and die cut too much today. So I do have these ready to go, and I'll talk about those later, but we're gonna stamp out the petals. And I have kind of a technique that I want to do with them because Catherine Pooler silhouette stamps, especially ones that layer, are really easy to what I like to call mass produce. And that means being able to kind of not have to reset your tools too much and just sort of stamp them out multiple times. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put them down in my Misty. We're going to pick it up. I agree. I think the bigger sheets are just kind of my preference with it, but hey, to each their own. I know some people really like the smaller sizes and whatever works. We're going to start with some 16 candle ink. We are going to work with purples for our flowers today. I thought that would be a really fun way to dive into this collection. One thing I love about Catherine Pooler when they come out with a new collection, they sort of have a suggested color palette. This color palette for this release, it was Sweetheart, Rockin' Red, Mardi Gras, Tiara, and Blackjack. I think that's what it was. And it was a really fun color palette, and I played around with it quite a bit. But I was like, you know what? For today's live, let's do something different. So let's play around with these purples, and we're going to make a card that's just jam-packed with purples and greens and a little pop of creamsicle. So I think that'll work really nicely. So, okay, so 16 candles. I've got my 2 flowers, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my panel and I'm going to rotate it. And what we're going to do is I am going to very sort of briefly clean off these stamps just to sort of help prevent any cross-contamination of colors. It's not super important today because we're staying mostly within the same color family. So we're going from 16 candles to Pixie Dust, which is the next darker in this color family. And then we're going to finish off with some Grape Crush. But if you were jumping around and doing like purples and oranges and blues, you're definitely going to want to clean those pads more effectively. All right, so we're going to stamp this down. Perfect. And you do want to make sure when you're stamping that you've got it nice in the corner. And this is going to make it easier for us to mass produce in a minute. So you'll see what I mean shortly when I say about that. I'm going to grab a quick drink of water. Ooh, okay. I'm getting over a little bit of congestion. I was very lucky. Usually when I travel, I get some sort of a cold. And we went to Disney. We did the Kindred Stamps release back towards the middle end of February, then stayed for a week in the happiest place on earth. And then I did come back after a couple days and develop a little bit of congestion. So we're still kind of battling that a little bit, but honestly, I've dealt with so much worse when it comes to congestion, so this doesn't even feel too bad. So I'm going to put a new sheet in because I don't have enough space for the next color. We're going to move on to some Grape Crush, which is the darkest of the colors in this color family. It's my favorite of them 3 too. I like deep purples. I actually saw Brandon Keene, who's also a brand ambassador for Catherine Pooler. He did a card and he used Glam, which is more of like a red violet. And I thought it looked really pretty. The deep red violets are good colors for flowers, I think. So I thought that card he made was beautiful. So I'm not going to use Glam today, but we are going to use some more just standard violets. So what we have right now is we've got our flowers all stamped out, and then I've also got them lighter too. So we've got darkest, middle tone, lightest. And what we're going to do next is I'm going to clean off my stamps, and we're going to stamp out the centers of our flowers. Now, do remember, some of the darker Catherine Pooler colors, the inks do have a little bit of a tendency to stain, and that's totally fine because your stamps are still going to work the same. They don't transfer the colors, they just sort of discolor the actual photopolymer. But like I said, they will still work the same. No worries at all with that. My thing is I'll just avoid using them when I do like photography with my products. So, all right, so we're going to put these back. And then what we're going to do is there's two flower centers. And I want to make sure I remember which one goes where. I'm pretty sure this one goes right in here. And this is why I love using my Misty to stamp my Catherine Pooler stamp set layer, because I can really sort of easily position them. I do want to move my magnet a little closer. Then that should stamp pretty perfectly. And then also I've got a bigger flower center we're going to use as well. You just sort of line them up the best that you can. You don't want to have like white gaps. That's not the goal. So we're going to do that. And then I thought it would be really pretty to use creamsicle as the center of the flowers. I wanted to kind of go along the lines of an orange. So I'm going to use this. You also could do like a blue would be really pretty. But yeah, I really do like this creamsicle color. Let's stamp it out twice just to make sure we get the vibrance for it. Nice and saturated. Perfect. Okay. So we've got our purple, these are our grape crush flowers. These are all good to go. And then we are going to move on and we are going to do our next spout. And all I should have to do is just sort of push this panel into the corner. Make sure it's in the right orientation, which it is. I want the petals facing, or the top of the flowers facing this way. And I just got a bunch of ink on my hand. That's okay. So what we'll do now is I don't even have to play around with the position of my stamps. I can just ink them up, close my Misty door, and they stamp right into place. So, like I said, this is why Catherine Pooler inks do really good when it comes to mass productions of cards, because I don't have to keep resetting my supplies. I can just sort of keep making these flowers, and you can get a bunch of them done in no time at all. Then you gotta die cut them, but that's okay. Unfortunately, I don't feel like I know any really great mass production techniques when it comes to outline die cutting, but that's okay. So that will be the die cutting you guys are going to have to watch with me today is this, and then my sentiments later. I'll show you guys because I do want to show you a technique with that as well using one of the other new products. So, all right, so we're going to stamp this out. Perfect, perfect. So here you go. We have all three of our flowers sets. So we have 6 flowers total. My plan is to use them all for our card. I have kind of an idea of what I want to do. It'll be pretty. It will be pretty. Of course it's going to be pretty, right? Thank you so much, Jay. JS. And then we've got Danelle Williams. Oh, thank you. You guys are both so kind. Thanks for stopping by today. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday morning. So, usually I like to go, I'm going to try and stick with Saturdays for my lives. And today I know I had to go a little earlier, which actually is kind of nice because it gives me personally a chunk of the day left to still work with. But we had plans with friends for today that we had actually set up before I came up with my live stream schedule. And I had confirmed times with her the other day, and she had said to come out by her by like 2. And I knew I wouldn't be able to do a 1 o'clock live. Well, hello, Marisha. Hope you're having a good Saturday morning. Thanks for stopping by. Marisha, I'm gonna have to jump into one of your lives. I thought you were going live last week on Saturday, but then I saw that there was a change and it was on Wednesday, and then I had another live going on and it was, oh my goodness. But girl, I promise I will be on one of yours soon. Oh, you are so kind, JS. Thank you so much. Well, I'm glad you get to have a fun crafty session with me now. So you go from SBC Fest one day and then just a one-on-one live stream in a smaller setting the next. I love it. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on die cutting out each of these coordinating images with the dies. I do love that Catherine Pooler has all of these coordinating dies that go with their silhouette stamps. And we're going to just sort of put this into place. And then I'm using 1-inch mint tape from scrapbook.com. It's my go-to low-tack adhesive. I do believe having a good low-tack adhesive tape like this is a necessity. You don't want to rip your paper when you're die cutting it because it kind of defeats the purpose. But I have mint tape in several many colors. So, all right. Now I was talking with a friend the other day, and I said one of my least favorite parts about doing a Facebook live or any sort of live stream is I feel like it's like now I got to go grab my die cutting machine. It's like the clunkiest part of the live, but it's okay because then also you get cranking, the camera shake a little bit, you know, all the fun stuff. All right, so we're gonna die cut these out. They should just easily pop out. Yep. I love these flowers. I think they are so pretty. They remind me of Black-Eyed Susans, but I didn't want to recreate them. So I'm like, let's have fun and do kind of a whimsical color palette. All right, so I'm going to reposition my die cuts and do it again. I'm actually really excited. So my mom approached me. My mom has a horse that she acquired a couple years ago, always a lifelong dream, and that was a whole story there and whatnot. But she was able to. My parents moved a couple years ago, so they still live close-ish by, but not as close as they used to. But they found a facility nearby. My mom has become really good friends with the people who board there, and my mom asked me because they do events at this horse boarding facility, and she's like, could you do a card making class for us? And I mean, I will never say no. I'm like, yeah, I was like, of course, mom, I will do a card making class. So she's been talking to me about like what we're going to do. I'm really excited. We are going to make some horseshoe shaker cards using some products recently released from Pretty Pink Posh. So I've got to work on samples because we're going to do that Mother's Day weekend. So that'll be a fun time. I don't know. I kind of want to get into more educational opportunities. I need to kind of keep an eye out in the Chicago area if there's anything that pops up that I can jump in and teach a class somewhere. But stay tuned. You never know. You never know. Maybe one day there'll be a retreat hosted from yours truly. Hopes and aspirations, right? But for now, I love my live streams. And I love being able to chat with y'all from the comfort of my own studio. Perfect fun things to do. All right. So I cut this last bit out. And this is the last of the florals. It is going to be a fun time. I'm really excited about it. It's just I've got to make... Well, that's never happened to me before. I just had my flower and it rolled off and it went right into my trash can with the dye still on it. Well, that's not good. All right, let me see. This is something I have never done on a live before. There it is. Just had to change the angle. Oh my goodness, it rolled right off my panel into the trash can with the dye still on it. Because usually it's like, well, if it's just the little flower, like I can re-stamp that if I can't find it. No, we were going to have to dig through the trash during a live too for, oh my goodness. Just my goodness. It's always something, you guys. All right, so we've got our flowers. So let's talk about what colors. I'm going to go ahead and talk about our color palettes that we're using for today, because I think this is really pretty. We're going to do some ink blending, of course, so we're not done with everything. Always a first time. It's exactly right, Robin. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Kayla. Thanks for stopping by. 2 days in a row. You are, I guess, lucky you. Am I able to say that? I don't know. I feel like I have to maintain some humbleness, you know? But here, we've got our colors. I want to talk about things I prepared in advance. So what we're going to be working with is I did die cut the stems of the wildflowers in two different colors. We used Martini and Lime Ricky, which are different enough. Lime Ricky is a little bit more brighter. But I thought that these would be two really great colors to use for the stems of the flowers. And then, of course, we stamped out all of our images in purple. I've also die cut the channel stitch cover plate die. We're going to do a little bit of ink blending with this. And I have the knots and crosses, the largest square. And what we're going to end up doing is our flowers are going to kind of line the top and the bottom, and then we're going to have a sentiment in the middle. But let's get into, let's see. Let's work on assembling our flowers. I think that's a good way to start, right? The joys of live streams. Oh my God. It literally flew right off my die cutting plate into the trash. And I'm like, and the funny thing is I just moved so I have like an island that I got from IKEA that me and my mom assembled a couple years ago. And it has been wonderful. I call it my recording station. So all of my lives, all of my videos, I do them on my island. I have my setup. And for whatever reason, the other day, I decided to take my garbage can and move it from the left side to the right side. Brennan's here. Brennan, I just talked about you in one of the cards you made with this set. So welcome, friend. Hope you're having a good Saturday morning. But literally just move the trash can from one side of my island to the other, and sure, I'm going to have to move it back. That's exactly what it's going to have to be. Thank you so much for stopping by. Sherry, you're so sweet. I'm so glad you enjoyed that class. I had a lot of fun recording it. So, all right, let's plan out. Oh, that's a lot of talking on my end. So what we're going to do is lay out each of these little stems, because I believe that one flower top kind of coordinates better with one of the stems, and I want to make sure everything is like evenly adhered. So we're going to take, let's see, I've got, perfect. Okay, so because there's an odd number in each of the colors, there's two of one design, one of the other, and then they're reversed in the other color. So this is perfect. So I am going to, the ones where the bulb is protruding from the top, where you can see the bulb and then the petals, that's going to be the one that kind of leans to the left a little bit. So we're going to go in, let's see, that's going to go here, and that's going to go here. Okay, so those are going to go like that. And then the other ones, let's see, do. College decisions came out. Well, good luck. I hope you got some good news today. And Brennan, when it comes to college, what I wish someone would have told me is that community college could be a lot cheaper. So that's not a bad thing if that's what, you get a good education and you can always transfer credits. So I say, I hope whatever happens, best of luck. I'm sure you are going to get fantastic news, but oh my goodness. Brings me back. College was actually where I started to become more in tune with paper crafting. If you guys listened to my start of SBC Fest yesterday, it's a story I share about often. When I went to college, I was a resident advisor at the University of Illinois. If anybody is familiar, I don't know if you are, I was an RA at the Snyder Hall, which is in what they called the Six Pack area. Which they would frown down upon me saying that now because it was a reference to going out and partying, which me was not really my thing. But anyways, I was an RA at Snyder Hall at the University of Illinois for 3 years, and honestly, one of the best experiences of my life. Made some really good friends, but I also was having to make bulletin boards and door decorations for my residents, and I used to go all out. All out with that. And I used to make these big old bulletin boards that would be like interactive, and door decorations that had 3D elements on them. And when I graduated, I kind of just let life take course, didn't really do too much paper crafting until later on. But I rekindled my love for paper crafting, and I really recognized how much of that love of it came from my time as an RA. So Something I would always recommend for someone to consider when they're going to college, living in the residence halls. If you're the type of person who that feels like your jam, get into it. I loved it. I also loved too, a big part of being an RA was education on social justice, which you learn a lot about things when you're not necessarily somebody who is, when you have what they call privileges. So really opened up my eyes to a lot and learning it, and had a lot of opportunities to talk and interact with people of all different backgrounds, which I think is something everybody should do. Do I have photos? I will look, Kayla. I might somewhere have some of them. But gosh, we're talking like over 10, 15 years ago. So they might be a little grainy, but that's okay. So we've got our flowers all assembled. I think these are really, really pretty. Hello, Megan. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Thank you for tuning in, friend. All right, Brendan said it was super well. I got into 2 top liberal arts schools. Yay! Community college also free for everyone in Massachusetts. Brendan, that's awesome. Brendan, that is awesome. I love that. As sometimes I feel it should be. All right, so we've got our flowers all situated. I'm going to set these off to the side, and we're going to work on our background and our sentiment. But we're going to work on our background first because I do want to do a little bit of splattering with it. And sometimes I always like to let my components dry naturally before I hit it with a heat gun, because I feel like that's the best way that it's going to dry. That's just the way my mind works. So anyways, we're going to grab a blending brush. Megan, I was talking about being an RA in college, which is funny because Megan was one too. So that is something that Megan and I very quickly bonded over. She gets it. She gets the door deck struggle. So thank you so much. All right, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pull in. I've got my ink stand. We're gonna use some Serenade ink. And I'm just going to blend the edges of this. Now, one thing that's kind of different, I picked up Serenade. This is not part of the color family. Serenade is more of a blue violet than a standard violet or a red violet. And I just wanted it to kind of slightly darken the edges of our die cuts. I didn't want to use the colors we were using for the flowers because I wanted the background to look like it was a different purple. So that's why I'm going in with the Serenade ink. And I am using a Catherine Puller blending brush. I love the teal color of these blending brushes. So, but you can use whatever blending tool you may have on hand. We do have similar stories. I love that. Love, love, love. All right. Just kind of go in, blend these edges up. One of my favorite things are cover plate dies. I'm such a sucker for them because it just lends such a good design element to like such a bulk of your card. I mean, if you're making an A2 size card, most cover plates I feel like are A2 sized, and it just really helps give you some good detail to the wholeness of your card. It really kind of helps add those little fine details that make your final project come together. Those little textures and details, I always say, are the things that come together to make your cards really amp up to the next level. So yeah, that's why I like the cover plate dies, or I like die cuts that have stitched edges or detailed edges. I think those are really important as well. And I am ink blending this. I didn't talk about what cardstock I'm using. This is Pixie Dust colored cardstock from Catherine Puller. Part of their year of color, they also came out with a cardstock line of colored cardstocks that reflect some of their ink colors. They don't have all of them. And I don't know if that's something that's necessarily in the works or not, but what I can tell you is I love the colors that they have selected. So this is Pixie Dust, and I've gone ahead and blended up the or die cut both of these panels from the Pixie Dust paper. You can buy a pack of just one color with Catherine Puller, or you can buy a collection that has, I think it's 2 sheets of each color from the collection, which is a really great way to get a sample of what's out there. They have the collections for both the Party and the Spa line, and they also have neutrals. I don't think the neutrals has where you can like buy a mix of them. But definitely if you love Catherine Puller colors, check out their cardstocks. They die cut really nicely. They coordinate with their inks perfectly. And then now that they also have the shimmers and the enamel dots, all of these products are beginning to tie together, and you really kind of can get a stretched use of them. So anybody who loves their Catherine Pooler ink colors, these products are a must. This has been a really good collection, Brennan. I agree. I also really like the kitty cat stamp set, and I don't know the official name of it. I know the release name was Petals and Purrs. And usually I lean towards critters. That's my usual go-to. However, the wildflowers really stuck out to me. Oh, I'm so glad that you enjoyed my presentation, Laura Lee. It was a fun time. I love SBC Fest. That was my third one. I always like to talk my very first SBC Fest. I had a vacation booked before I found out I would be participating. And I actually did my first SBC Fest in Disney World. My husband, we made sure to stay back from the hotel. We did a pool day and then went up to the room when it was time for me to do my session, and we got it taken care of. So that was fun. Just kind of going in, blending this. Like I said, both of these panels were die cut from the exact same colored paper, and that was intentional. And that's why I'm just stressing the edges of both of them, is because when I layer these together, it is going to look like it's kind of two different colored cardstocks, or really define that there were two different pieces. Megan, if my class was good, then we need to come up with a better for yours, because yours was amazing. If you guys haven't yet, so I know a handful of you heard of me from SBC Fest, and I'm so grateful that you were here and heard of me from that. Megan was also an instructor yesterday, and Megan did an amazing, like, I don't want to say love letter themed class, but it included mail, and one of them was a love letter. And it was a little scene card with the most adorable little birds, and she provided such great instruction on how to put this whole card together. And I think Megan, everyone was just obsessed with that stencil. And the stencil that Megan used was exclusive to her SBC Fest bundle kit. Everyone loved it. I mean, Jeannie even used it in her class. So, I mean, it was a fantastic stencil. Fantastic class overall. I love that class. All right, so we're going in just like this. All right, so I've got these all ready to go. Let me put the cover back on my ink before I dump it on me. Oh my goodness. Yes, Kristen, definitely check the replay. I love that the replays are available. Yeah, Brendan, but also too, like, you still are in school though, right? I mean, you had somewhere to be yesterday. I don't think I don't know if the teachers would have appreciated you tuning in to watch a live stream, because it was all day. It was all day. It was like, I was like, oh my God, we have a full day worth of inspiration. I love it. But I mean, it's a commitment for some people. I was talking to another crafty friend of mine, and she took a half day off of work just to go home and craft. I love it. You really did have a great kit, Megan. All right, so we're going to use our splatter box, and then I am going to take the Pixie Dust Shimmer. And, all right, just a little bit. I like to put it on an acrylic block, because that way it gets easy cleanup. See, Brennan, you had an excuse, so you're totally fine. And we're just going to splatter this. One thing I like about the shimmers is there's something about the way that this liquid gets absorbed by my brushes that I usually don't have a lot of excess, because I never want to waste anything. So I usually find myself having to reapply liquid, but that's okay. See, Sherry thinks the stencil was the bomb too. That stencil was just amazing. I love how many elements it gave. I also love that it was a stencil that was, like, easy to mask. And I think that's really important when you're going to include multiple elements. That's something that always stresses me out about stencils that have kind of multiple things going on. It's like, okay, but, like, am I going to be able to successfully mask without, like, my ink running over? And that was definitely a stencil that did that. We're going to just splatter. All right. Perfect. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. And then we're going to talk about the die cut that I'm going to use for our sentiment, because that's another part of this release that when I got it, I was so happy that we had a word die like this, because there are multiple different ways to use it. So I want to talk about the, I think it's Big Thanks is what it is. Hold on. It says Big Thanks. Okay. We're going to take some water in a second. Awesome. Now, there is a new die, and it is the Big Thanks word die. And it has the letters and it has the outline. And when I first got this, I went through a whole range of emotions, and I'll talk to y'all about it. So my first thing is whenever there's a word die with an outline, I get excited because I'm like, oh, like I'm going to be able to like have this as a nice, bold, chunky sentiment, which I haven't shared my card yet that I made with it. But anyways, I did make a card with it that I love, with the new Rick Wrap stripe dies, but those went out of stock already because they were so hot and popular. But then I was like, oh, each of these letters are separate. So it's not like one or two units. I'm going to have to paste all of these into place. And then I got kind of worried. I was like, oh, how are we going to do this? And then I realized, because these were originally attached to each other, I realized that what I could do is I could take the original words and then take the outline die, and it layers perfectly on top. And I would go ahead and put them into place and tape them down together. And that way it's going to kind of die cut the negative. Kayla says, I don't have any CP items, but I love her colors. Where do you suggest I start? Inks, paper, stamps, or stencils? I would definitely say what Brennan is saying, start with the inks. There are some ink bundles on her website. So what I would say, and this is kind of my like recommendation, Kayla, whenever it's any types of inks. Catherine Pooler has two main lines. She has Party and she has Spa. And Party lines are all of what I'm using today. They're really bright. Spas are a little bit more muted. They're both gorgeous. I started with the Parties because I, by nature, am always a little heavy-handed, a little bolder in my designs. And I think that I made the right choice. And what I would say to start with is by getting a pink, a red, an orange, a yellow, a green, maybe a blue-green, but at least a blue, a violet, and then we'll say add a blue-green in there. And what I would say is I would get like, let's see, I would say maybe for a pink, get like Be Mine. For a red, get Rockin' Red. Orange is Orange Twist. Yellow, I think Tiara is a really good yellow to start with. It's a little bit of a darker-ish yellow, but I think it gets a lot of good use. Lime Ricky would be the green I would recommend. And then blue green, I think what would it be? I'm looking at my inks right now. Aquatini is a good one. And then I like Something Borrowed is a good, just kind of true blue. And then for purples, I would say Grape Crush or Pixie Dust. That would be my recommendation. So, all right. So I've gone ahead and I've die cut these two pieces together. This is from Martini cardstock. And Martini is the same ink color that we used earlier. And see how I have both like the outline and the letters in this? So what I can do is I'm not going to use the full letters, but I do need what I like to call the innards. So like my A, I'm going to need this little dot. So we're going to keep the A. And realistically, where'd my little dot go? Oh, I don't need the dot. That's good. Realistically, I could save all of this for another sentiment if I wanted. Definitely, I recommend most people start with Party. Like if, say for example, and this is not me trying to think too highly of myself, but like if you're being inspired from today's live, I'm using all Party inks. I would say start with the Party inks. But also too, if you're a little bit more of like a softer crafter and what you do is you love like making with florals, I really think the Spa collection might be a better start for those types of people. I am not that type of people usually. So anyways, so I've got my outline. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take just the outline. We're going to pop the word portion out. And then I am going to put it on a piece of favorite white cardstock, just a little scrap that I have around. And let me make sure that's nice and clean. Oh my God, don't be tardy for the party. Oh my goodness. Who would have thunk? A Real Housewife reference today. It's too early for this, Brennan. No. We just watched this season of The Traitors, and it was a great Real Housewives cast on there. Oh my goodness. Lisa Rinna was everything. All right. All right. So we're going to go in and we're going to pop this out. And then we're going to talk about how we're going to assemble this together, because this comes together really nicely. It is a great word dye, JS. It really, really is. And I love doing it this way, because that way all of your letters, you don't have to worry about lining them up. They've already been die cut that way. And all you've got to do is a little bit of adhesive. So we're going to go in. Now, one thing with something like this, I don't like to use too much adhesive, but you are going to want to make sure to get the adhesive on the little bits that dip into each of the letters. Like, for example, the N, you're going to want to make sure to get that. Just like this. Just around the A, up the H, around the T. I'm trying not to use too much glue because I don't like when it starts to look like shiny and splotchy. But I did recently acquire the Gina K Matte Connect glue. And I know I got to use that because everyone's been saying, you don't get the glue spots. They dry clear. Yes. Yeah, Marisha loves The Traitors. Oh my goodness. Yeah, oh my, so does Kristen. It's such a good show. It is. I'm like, I have like a hate but also love relationship that it's only on once a year, because I really kind of think that's the side of a amazing TV show, and it's also going to stand with its longevity. Is that like it's not on that much, so people get really excited for it to come out. Shows that are on 2-3 times a year, I don't think are as exciting generally, but I could use more Traitors. They're actually, so they're doing, I'm sure those of you who've watched it know that they're doing a civilian version of The Traitors. When what I mean by civilian is the first season was a mix where it was like 50% like previous reality television people and then 50% non, just like I would say regular people. And then they did 3 full seasons of just reality television people. And honestly, I love it. They've had such a great cast of people. Me and my husband, we love like Big Brother and Survivor, and they have had like some of the best names from the show. So I have no complaints, but it looks so the upcoming they've done 4 seasons. Season 5 is going to be civilian, but I've also heard tell that supposedly they're getting ready that season 6 is supposed to be all stars. Your tip on tapping off paper yesterday was awesome. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I think it's a good and cute little tip. So thank you very much. But yes, oh my God, Marisha. Yes, it was such a good season. The guy, I don't want to give things away for people who might be interested, but I thought this season, the cast of The Traitors was one of the best yet, which was really interesting because they were all non-competitive people. They were all from like shows that were not like a competition show. And usually it's the competitors that I think do better. So the winner did their thing. They did. I think the person who won deserved to win. That's my tell on that. They worked their butt off. I just gotta kind of trim this a little bit. And then this goes down here. But yes, Marsha, we're a big Big Brother house too. That's always a watch for us. I don't love a lot of the most recent seasons, but I think it was 24, the one that Taylor won. Oh my God, that was like one of my favorite seasons ever. She is one of my favorite people to ever be on that show. So I loved when she came back from Reindeer Games. We watched her when they just did the Amazing Race. So, ugh. Don't love Kyland, but that's okay. You know what, Brendan? It's such an easy one to get looped into. It's hard to explain to some people who don't watch the shows, Um, but it's okay. I try to educate them, and if they don't want it, to each their own. So what I'm doing is, now that I've gotten sidetracked talking about a bunch of reality television, I am putting in each of the little loops that are die cut out. So we had the B had a couple pieces, the G had a centerpiece. So I'm just kind of making sure those get into place. And the last one I have is the center of the A. All right. If you guys love these shows, not to like plug something else, but you should check out my blog because I just did a release with Kindred last month, Kindred Stamps, and my stamp set that I used, I think some of you, without directly saying what it is, may really like it. Oh no, why is this end crooked? Oh, damn, it already dried? Oh no. That's okay, we'll fix it. Well, I didn't watch that, and my end went down a little crooked. So we're just going to kind of smooth it out a little bit. Just like that. When you were 6, Brennan, oh my goodness. I always watch like Twitter updates for the live feeds. I could never watch the live feeds. It was just, that for me is I'm like, okay, like maybe I don't need all of that, but all right, so just kind of smooth this out. I think we're okay. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to take these and set these aside for later. Lex also likes all these people with Big Brother, okay, which is so funny because I feel like that is one of the shows that can be such a stretch for people. Like I feel like the least amount of people I know like Big Brother, they like the other shows. And now I'm sitting here realizing I don't remember where I put my panels. Oh, they're in my box still. Here we go. All right. So let's get into putting everything together. And I know I'm going to have to make a card base too. So what we're going to start with is I'm going to start by adhering this together. And what I love about this channel stitch cover plate is you can use the stitch marks to line everything up so that it's even. You don't have to kind of guess where the center is. So we're just going to kind of put this nice in the center. Bump it up just a little bit. Make sure the lines are all sort of parallel and equal. Awesome. And then we are going to do our flowers across the tops and bottoms. So I think what we're going to do is 1, 2, 3. Not that one. So we'll do this. And I've kind of already done a card similar to this, but we're going to do flowers on the top and the bottom, and then we're going to put big thanks in the center. So we're going to push this down just a little bit. Brennan says, I used to watch Survivor, but haven't after 40. You know what? Actually, same. I really didn't either. I watched a very, very little bit of 49, but we watched 49 because we knew 50 was coming, which is on right now, and we are watching 50. Gotta watch my girl Suri. Love Suri. Me and my husband love Suri, especially Suri on Big Brother with Felicia. Oh my god, it was so good. But it's funny because my mother-in-law also watches Survivor, and she's one of the people like, oh, Suri's been on too much. I'm like, you can't have enough Suri on your television. Just my opinion. All right, so we're gonna put this, and then let's see. I know I got to make a card base with y'all, and then I'm also going to need to grab some foam tape. All right, so we're going to do like this, and then flip it. And then what we're going to do is, how are we going to do this? Do it like that. Love how this is coming together. Okay, so I have like something else I want to talk about. And and it's like, I know like we live in like the crafting world and we want to like promote like togetherness and creativity and community. I would die for like an elimination style crafting reality show where like people got like cut, like a card making show where people were getting eliminated and there was like a top three or so. Oh, I have thought about that, but I am like, I don't know if it would do really well because it would like be people would get cutthroat with it, you know? But I would love something like that. Could you imagine like a retreat? Like it was like it was called like the retreat, and it was like a bunch of people in a house for the weekend, and it was like, oh, but like actually like you're doing challenges and the people get sent home. Oh, you would get the cut, right? That would make the most sense. Oh my goodness. I love that. All right, so just kind of layer this. I was so happy she won as well. Absolutely, Marisha. I kind of want to see, she was on Survivor Australia versus the World with Parvati just this past summer, I believe. And I kind of want to go in and watch some replays because I know she doesn't win, but she does quite well. But anyways, all right, so we've got our florals. What we're gonna go ahead and do is trim off the excess, and you can keep them because sometimes I use them to sort of decorate other parts of my card. I don't know if I'm going to do that quite yet. The non-competitive, not usually waterworks. Oh, that's so funny, Kayla. I would watch that. See, doesn't it sound fun? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I just think it like you got to make it like a certain interactive card. If you don't do it by this amount of time, like the person who doesn't do it the fastest gets sent home. I don't know. Oh, I think it would be fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But I'm also very, very naturally competitive by person, which this is also a very great segue to say that I will be next week's guest on Craft Roulette. And I'm already like, I know it's not like you're winning anything. Um, but I'm like, so how do I win? But it's like, that's not the point, Justin. So I'm very excited next week to be on Craft Roulette with Mary Gunn. It'll be my first time on and spinning the wheel. Who knows what I'm going to come up with? Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you, Marianne. I'm glad that you found me as well. Welcome to our chats all about reality television today. All right, so we're going to also put in our big things right there. Let's see. I want to see about maybe adding in some more leaves. Leaves. So I think I'm going to go in and add one there. You know what? Cropped. Maybe I need to find more about that, Brennan. That sounds like my sort of jam. All right, and then let's see, what else do I got? Let's trim this off. See, I get quiet when it comes down to the little details where I'm like, oh, we gotta put all this on. All right, and then sort of just put this in the corner right here. And then what else are we gonna do? I'm gonna have to look up. Okay, now that I know that Megan was in this, I'm gonna have to look this up because this sounds incredible. This sounds like exactly what I want. Oh my goodness. I would not be eliminated. Thank you, Kristen. That's very, I love that. Thank you. All right, let's do just a little bit more right here. Start down here, and then we'll cut off the excess. And that way it just kind of fills in some of the spaces. All right. Oh, thank you so much, Elizabeth. I'm so glad that you had fun and enjoyed my class. We had a great time. All right, we're definitely coming up on a water break. Woo! Excuse me. All right, so just kind of clean these little bits up. And then I know I'm going to have to grab some foam tape in a second. Actually, I don't have to. So I have some double-sided adhesive spots from scrapbook.com. Oh, excuse me. And we are going to go in and just sort of add some of these dots to our card. Because I don't need them to be strips, really. I just need them to be kind of little spots. And I forgot I had this on my desk. I always have adhesive just everywhere. So many different options. We won't say who won the first episode, though. No spoilers. Ugh. All right. One more circle. Well, maybe 2 more circles. It's funny. So I've been doing these live streams, and usually I haven't done like Saturday lives on my own channel until recently. This is my 4th, and I love how they're going. But my husband now is home for most of them. And my husband is so used to when I do a live, he's like, okay, I'll go disappear and get in the other room. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, you can stay. It's like, it's fine. So I don't know if he's disappeared or not. You're here? You're in here? Okay, he's in here. He gets to listen to all my chat about reality television shows. So we're going to take our big thanks and sort of put it kind of center card. Just kind of like that. I think maybe a little bit more to the right, or left rather. All right, so just like that. Okay, perfect. I love these greens with the purples, and I really think that that creamsicle center for the flowers is just a perfect little pop. I love how that looks, and we're going to go in now. Let's add some enamel dots using those party purples, or party violets. I apologize. And let's go in. We're just going to use a couple. Corey's the best. Megan knows. Megan knows. All right, we're going to use the mid-tones, which I think would be pixie dust, which is going to be like the color of the paper. I'm going to use those for my enamel dots because they kind of just blend right in with everything. So we're going to go in. Let's see. We'll do another one down here. Let's see. Can I bump that a little bit? Just a little bit, Justin. Just a little bit. And we'll do a little one right here. Just like that. Perfect. Just a little bit of detail. All right. I got to get this on a card base, but we are really coming together. He can give insight on the shows. Yep. Oh, you guys are so sweet. That's the same way he literally crawls down the hallway of my door on my Zoom. Oh my God, Lorley, that's hysterical. Okay, so I just got to do a card base really quick, which I feel like that is sometimes one of the more cumbersome things to do on a live, but we'll get it taken care of. So let me grab my scoreboard and my bone folder, all the things. All right, and then we'll pop this on and we'll be done. You know what, too? I think that this calls for a top fold card. I think that would be special with this one. So we'll do a top fold. Purples, I knew there are some big purple fans out there. I agree, Megan. You could do so many different colors. I know the Catherine Pooler has like their suggested color palette for this release that we talked about earlier, and I know that would work really nicely. But like, I almost thought about doing rainbow flowers too because I thought that it would just work really well. And Thank you, scoreboard, for not falling down. Let's get my Gina K guillotine out. Awesome. So we've got our big thanks card. And just some liquid adhesive on the back. Sorry that I'm not fully centered. I'm standing now. Hey, Brenny, we follow whatever we want to do, right? And are those embellishments sort of flat? Not really. They're like your standard enamel dots. There's definitely like a raisedness to them. So they're not like flat, but they don't really, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're anything abnormal. They're pretty standard when it comes to enamel dots. All right, I'm gonna have to trim a little bit off the side. That's okay. Let's go in. Just sort of real carefully. I love these Spellbinder scissors. They are like my precious. All right, and there we have it. We have our big thanks card all completed. Oh my goodness. This was fun. Oh my gosh, this was a great weekend chat, you guys. I love how this card turned out. Let's just kind of recap what we used. So we used the new Wildflower stamp set and coordinating dies from Catherine Pooler, and then we used them in addition to some of the other new dies that came out with this release. We used the Knots and Crosses nested die set, which gave us this really fun detail of the, you can just see these little circles and just how it kind of separates from the edges of the card. I think that's really fun. We used the big thanks sentiment word die, which is perfect. And then we also used the channel stitch. Is it called channel stitch? Wait a minute. I'm pretty certain that's what it is. The channel stitch cover plate. Yep. And you can just see the little dashes on some parts of the card for a little extra detail. We use the Party Violet enamel dots for a little bit of a pop. And then we use some amazing little cardstock colors that are from Catherine Pooler as well that coordinate along with all the inks. So let's go ahead. I'm going to switch this back to my face. There we go. All right. So we are all done for today. We've got our thank you card all ready to go. What I love is this is just an easy card that if you want to mass produce, we went over some really great techniques for that. You can definitely make this in any color you want, do whatever sort of styles you want. It's a great way to just sort of any word die you have put on as well. I'm so glad you guys love the card. Oh my God, you guys are also so sweet. As Brendan said, yes, don't forget all the links below. If there's anything today that you are inspired to purchase, definitely use those links. Any commission generated, of course, no additional cost to you. I have that link. Y'all know how affiliate links work. So, but anything that you might be inspired by, if you've got any questions, just let me know. You can always reach out to me via DM, usually through my blog or through Instagram is the best. Oh, you ordered my package, Debbie. That is so wonderful. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm glad that you loved it. But thank you guys so much for stopping by. The plan is currently, so like I said, next week, you will see me on Craft Roulette on Friday. So that's really fun. I'm also doing a live stream for Scrapbook and Cards Today on Wednesday at the Scrapbook and Cards Today is Wednesday 7:30 Central Time, so that's 8:30 Eastern Time. I'm really excited about the cards that we're doing for that. It's going to be I can't give too many details, but it's going to be fun. So we got definitely some inking techniques to talk about. And then you'll see me on Craft Roulette on Friday, and then the plan is on Saturday to go live again, probably returning to my 1 p.m. time. If I am drained from the week, which I'm hoping is not happening, we may postpone, but that is not the plan. The plan is to go live next week, Saturday. And for those of you who have maybe been on the fence or maybe have bought it already, I am going to be using my SBC Fest kit next weekend for my live stream to make a new card. So if you're on the fence about it, definitely think about maybe getting it, because I'm sure if you get it, you might even get it in enough time for next week's live, and I'm happy to put some extra inspiration your way. So thank you so much, everybody, everybody for stopping by. You all have been wonderful. This has been by far the best live to date. I loved all the chats that have been going on. I loved our talks about reality television. I hope we continue with those in the future because I think that's super fun. Robin, on next week's Saturday, it is going to be 1 p.m. Central Time, so 2 p.m. Eastern, whatever time zone you may be in, but that'll be the mark. I'll make sure to send out reminders on my Instagram. I've been trying to do reminders the Thursday before to remind people and then share along the way. But thank you guys all so much. I hope you had a fantastic day crafting along with me. I know it was a little early. I hope you got your coffee time in, and I will look forward to creating with you real soon. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.